What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of The Music Bowl. My name is Herd. I will be your host for today. We are out on a ride. This is actually part 3 of my ride to Scranton, PA, and back. I am headed back toward the New York border at this point, still in Pennsylvania. I believe I'm on Pennsylvania 652, and then this is going to run me straight into Narrowsburg, New York. And then from Narrowsburg, we'll actually just be coming back along the Delaware River, but on the New York side. And that'll run us through the Hawk's Nest, which is one of the popular destinations. So I'm expecting that there will be a lot of traffic through that zone. I tried to actually do this episode a few minutes ago, but I ended up going through Waymart and a few other small towns in Pennsylvania that were still not big, but urban enough with a lot of lights, and it's just super hard and distracting to try and record and talk while also trying not to die. So here we are out in the countryside, headed back toward New York, like I said. So today what we're going to be talking about is another defense of a genre, and in particular hip-hop. In this, I wasn't expecting to make this one, and many listeners probably were not expecting me to make this defense, being that I'm white, but it's really hard. I hate when I hear people saying they don't like hip-hop, because as I've said before, with every genre, there's an aspect of it, there's some artist somewhere that you will like. Now, it might not be your most listened to genre. It doesn't have to be. It also might not be your favorite music. It doesn't have to be. And I would not say that hip-hop is my favorite genre. I mean, I know it's not my favorite genre. It's probably either metal or jazz or rock or something along those lines. But I still listen to my fair share of hip-hop. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to keep it even more simple than my episode on metal. And in that one I gave you 5, maybe 6 or 7, or maybe even 8 albums, if I'm remembering correctly, of between the 4 or 5 artists that I gave you. I'm going to keep it even more simple today and just give you like 2, maybe 3 things to check out. If you're in that camp of someone who doesn't listen to a lot of hip-hop and maybe thinks they don't like hip-hop, hopefully the couple of things I can show you will give you a different side to hip-hop than what you may have thought. So the reason that this whole thing sparked in my mind to even do is that there's another podcast that I'm not going to mention the name of because of what I'm about to say, but I generally respect the musical opinion of this podcast. I don't, as with everything, I don't always agree, but I at least respect a lot of the opinions that they hold. They're usually well-founded in their own research and through other research, and, what's up, Bird? They usually do a very good job of representing different musical ideas really well. Well, recently, in one of the episodes I was checking out, which I think at this point goes back to maybe like late April or May or something along those lines, but they were saying how they were coming up to an intersection and they were about to park at the intersection next to another car. Like, so the car was here and then they were coming up to here. Well, they could hear that other car was playing hip-hop music, and their first thought was, I hope it's not in 4/4. And then when it was, they were super disappointed, and their thought was, why can't this be in 3? Wouldn't it be cool if this was? And there's really simple rhythm, so it's not even like a complex 4/4, it's just really simple, dumb 4/4 was basically what they were implying. They didn't say dumb, but they were implying that for sure. And all of those things may be true. Like, the hip-hop song was in 4/4. It probably did have really simple rhythms. But you're showing, when you say those things, that you know nothing about hip-hop and what it's all about. And by the way, I don't claim to know what it's all about, but I've figured a few things out. And to have any expectation that hip-hop is going to be in anything other than 4/4 or a 6/8 feel is, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, you're expecting something from a genre that it is never going to give you. It just won't. It's not going to happen. It would take a really, really hip hip-hop producer to to have something in 7, but even then I can't imagine many people are going to be able to rap over that. And it's not that it can't be done, it's just it's not something you can expect to hear from the genre. And even with complex rhythms, like, it defeats the purpose. The whole idea behind hip-hop is that it's got to be something groovy enough for the rapper to be able to flow on very easily, because you have to remember that most hip-hop is not written down. Like, they're not thinking about a lot of what they say. They show up to the studio that day and they just, whatever comes to their mind, just like a jazz soloist, they're going to improvise all of their lyrics. And now, yes, we could say that the jazz musicians do all of that stuff, but over crazy rhythms and things like that, but those have been inherent parts of the genre for a very, very long time. And hip-hop, it has never been that, because when hip-hop was first starting, you have to remember, it was starting because DJs in the Bronx and Brooklyn were sampling other popular songs, and most popular music is not in crazy meters. It is simple stuff. It is in 4/4. And so it was rare that you would hear a DJ at one of those, like, block parties playing something that wasn't in 4/4, because they were spinning records that were of common music. And you know, the whole scene got, like, rapping didn't even start on this stuff at first. It was just all about the music. And eventually, I'm gonna get it wrong, I'm gonna say DJ Kool Herc was the one who started, like, talking and then eventually doing that singing thing that we now call rapping. He was definitely one of the early founders of this stuff. Not founders, but one of the early people who kind of started this movement in New York City. He may not have been the first one to be rapping on it. I might have that wrong, so please correct me. But yeah, so it's just not going to happen. That you're just not going to have crazy complex stuff coming out of hip-hop, because that's not what it was meant to do. And I feel like, I mean, I definitely used to say this. I used to be, am I still going the right way? I am. I think this actually will just run me straight to Narrowsburg, so hopefully that's okay, and then I can jump on 97 back towards Port Jervis. Anyway, I used to think that anything in 4/4 was stupid. I definitely held that view. I was definitely a jazz elitist. Had a whole semester we weren't allowed to play in 4, and that kind of turned all of us into monsters. So I get and I understand that point of view. So I just want to be the first to say that I understand where you're coming from, and you are wrong. It's that simple. Like, you can't expect anything more from a genre than what it's actually going to give you. It's unrealistic, and you're putting too much pressure on something. So the other thing that also sort of bothered me in this episode that a lot of people say is they mistake the phrase rap for hip-hop. So they might say, like, I don't like rap music, and I get that. And then I feel like even on, like, Apple, I might have seen it might even say, like, rap as a genre. But what I would challenge, also, one, you know, we have to remember that not everything Apple says is true, but one of the things that I would challenge you to think about is that rap is not the genre. Rap is the vocal style that is predominantly used in hip-hop music. So I think that because of that, nowadays, yeah, maybe rap is somewhat synonymous with hip-hop, but you have to remember that, like, again, rap is a vocal style. Zach De La Roche was rapping on Rage Against the Machine's, like, heavy funk and, like, hard rock grooves. Anthrax had some of that Speak Song stuff with heavy metal. There are many other bands that incorporate those sort of vocal styles, of that vocal style, I should say, of rap, that are not hip-hop. So I would just caution you to make sure you are understanding the distinction in what you're saying. A lot of people don't even understand that. They just call all hip-hop rap, or they use the terms to mean the same thing. And I get it, I understand it, and I think most people know what you're saying, but we just want to try and be aware that these things could be slightly different, or you don't have to have rap to have hip-hop, that sort of, well, no. Yes, just because no, if it's rapping, doesn't mean it's hip-hop, because you can have rap and other stuff, is my point. Anyway, all I'm going to do now is give you at least two, and maybe a third if I can think of one, things that I think you should go to help start exploring the world of hip-hop, and kind of getting a feel for what more to actually be expecting from this genre. Because yes, like every genre, there's a lot of bad stuff out there, and I'm not saying that the stuff that I'm going to give you is the greatest or the best. It's maybe not even the most exact example of hip-hop, but it's going to be good stuff. It's going to be stuff that I'm checking out, which is why I give it to you. It's my first-hand experience. Dang, these woods are freaking beautiful, by the way. Can we just enjoy this for a second? If I could get my bike to go straight. Dang, this is cool. Another mile. So we are going to cross the river here soon, which is kind of cool. Actually, it is right down there, I believe. It looks like it might be. Can't quite see it though. So, yeah, the stuff that I'm going to give you, the other reason I'm giving it to you is because a lot of times one of the gripes that people have, especially like jazz and classical musicians, is how produced the world of hip-hop can be, with the electronic sampling and all that sort of stuff. And I get it, and there's a lot of hip-hop that, like, kind of for those reasons, like, I don't like the way the samples sound, and it is super simple rhythms and all of that stuff. It kind of, you know, it makes me not want to listen to it. I fully understand that. It's tough to say the entire genre is bad, though, because of that. And again, this whole idea that it's bad just because it's in 4/4, ooh, damn, these are beautiful, is fairly annoying. So, this stuff that I will give you, dang, this is so beautiful through here. I'm sorry, I'm getting so distracted by how amazing these trees look. And I know I usually say stupid trees, but like being tucked into them like this is really nice. Yeah, so first thing, I'll just give you the album. First one, Brother Ali is the name of the rapper. Easily my favorite rapper. Easily, unquestionably. Oh, hey, Delaware River. Oh my gosh, look at that view. Woo! Yeah, Brother Ali, favorite rapper by far, and you can't compete with this view. What's up, people on the beach, enjoying the day here. Dang, some fishing going on. Love it. So good. He has an album, the one that I would recommend is called All the Beauty in This Whole Life. It's got actual people playing all of the instruments, and now you have to remember that they will sample those things, but an actual bass player did come in, play those grooves, and I need to... Says, oh, the light is up there. Okay, sorry guys, I gotta navigate myself one more time. And actually, we're gonna go, no one's behind us, so let's do this. Whew. $297 straight. All right, we'll edit around some of this as we navigate, but all right, at this point we're just looking for 97, which should be over here. 97 south straight. Woo! All right, I think we found it. Yeah, this is usually how I come into Narrowsburg. Okay, end scene. There we go. We have navigated our way through Narrowsburg. I believe we are correctly on 97 south to Port Jervis. So, let me backtrack, say everything again, now that I'm no longer distracted. Brother Ali, All the Beauty in This Whole Life, real instruments, real musicians. The people did come into the studio, lay down the grooves, and then from there they were sampled. So a lot of times when you see him perform live, it will be just him and a DJ, but just know that people did come in and actually lay down those grooves. What's up, bird? To actually get that stuff, and that's a big thing for me, is that there actually is real people who are doing that stuff. And and they're just super great. They're just killing grooves, absolutely amazing. And what he is singing about is fantastic. Brother Ali is Muslim, and he is a blind man and is a black man, and so he has a lot to say about how all of those things interact with American society, as you could imagine. And this particular album is sort of for his kids to help them navigate the world. It's sort of his thoughts on how they're going to be treated and how he thinks they should react, or at least not even necessarily how they should react, but how they could help, or how they could start to understand the world around them. And you know, it's just kind of like, look, these things are going to happen. Here's how I dealt with them, how I hope you will deal with them, how you can think about them. So he offers up an amazing amount of perspective. Songs like Dear Black Sun come to mind with that. And he just does an incredible job, you know, laying himself out there for all to see while he's talking to his kids. And it's fantastic. It's amazing. All of his albums are extremely good. When I listen to my iPod, God, look how old I am. When I'm listening to my phone with Apple Music in the car and I just tell it to like shuffle my tunes, I never ever have skipped a Brother Ali song. I just don't. I have like all of his albums on there, and I just don't skip them. They're just so good. Like the grooves are always killing. What he's talking about is always great. He does a very good job of not doing the trope of just talking about how much money and girls he has. He's just fantastic. He does, his earlier stuff is a lot angrier. He's a lot younger, and rightfully so. He's pretty angry about the world that he sees around him, and he lets you know it. He's not afraid to say those things, but he does a very good job on All the Beauty in This Whole Life of taking a much more mellow approach to how he's explaining the world. So I appreciate that. Not that he has to be mellow, but it's much more palatable for a wider audience, I think. The other one that I'll give you is Mac Miller's Swimming. It even features a string quartet, and if you want to hear the guys doing it for real, go check out his Tiny Desk concert of that music, because it's fantastic. They all do it. It's like right before his death. Mac goes on the Tiny Desk and he does his like 4 tunes off of that. Thundercat comes in the studio and is playing bass with them. And again, what he's talking about is just kind of, you know, again, he is younger. He's 26 when he dies, so he's 20, probably either late 25 or early 26 when he does the Tiny Desk. And so you might not be able to relate to everything he's saying, but he's just, again, just venting his problems about life. He does swear a little more. Maybe you don't like that as much, but that's fine. But that album just features some incredible music that it's still like on the simpler side of things. It's still not the crazy hemiolas and stuff you're going to get from metal or classical or that kind of stuff. And these woods are absolutely beautiful. But he just does an amazing job of just laying it down, doing his thing. So, and then the other one that I will give you, just some more of the old school stuff, A Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, is going to be all about the sample culture and how DJs were taking other popular tunes and sampling them to mix them together to create a real song that someone then could rap on. A lot of Jay Dilla's stuff was that way. Jay Dilla was a very influential hip-hop producer who passed away in 2006. I'm at the Blue Fox already? Wow, all right. Didn't expect to see that so soon. And he would sample so many songs and create another song based on just those samples. No one would rap on them. His album Donuts does that. And he had a lot of stuff with his band Slum Village where he was the producer putting the stuff together that people could then go and rap on. So he might be one worth checking out. Jay Dilla, anything by him. There's a lot more of the sample guys that I could talk about as well, but I want to try and keep your list short, keep it manageable. So Brother Ali, All the Beauty in This Whole Life, Mac Miller's Swimming, Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders, you know, and I did just mention Jay Dilla, so you can get that. And there's so much stuff. There's so much other amazing, amazing stuff. I think of like Renee by the Lost Boys and their album Legal Drug Money. And before you started thinking like, oh, it's legal drug money and we're talking about rappers and what drugs are they talking about, one of the first couple of tracks on that album is called Legal Drug Money, and they explain that their legal drug is music, that they're so into music that they can't believe it's legal, and that's how they're making their money, is just by being rappers and musicians. And so they called it Legal Drug Money because they were so in awe of the fact that they were making music just based on their ability to rap. Good grief. And so yeah, that one song, at least, Renee, if you want just something super easy to go and check out, the story of Renee is heartbreaking and beautiful, and like if you don't cry, like you have no emotions. So there's yet another thing to go and check out, listen to some cool hip-hop, and try to dive into, like, for me, what it is, it's less about obviously all the music that's going on because it is so repetitive, but that's kind of the point. So for me, what makes hip-hop, or what makes me want to listen to hip-hop, is one, how good does that groove feel? Like, how into it am I into just that groove? But what are you singing about? What's your actual lyrical flow, and what's the flow of your vocal rhythms? And so dive into those things. Try to put in the back of your mind that it's bad just because it's in 4/4. Because what's going on here? Sometimes this just doesn't work. There we go. It's not going to be in anything other than 4/4/6/8. So with that, go check out some hip-hop. Please let me know what you think of any of those recommendations, or did I get this whole episode wrong? Am I stupid? Is hip-hop bad because it's all in 4/4? Please let me know. With that, we'll catch you next time, guys. Have a good one.